We're gonna actually start off standing today, so I'm sorry to mess up your routine here. Get you. All right, so we're gonna stand on up and we'll be a shoulder width wide, but you can still close your eyes and we're gonna breathe for a couple of moments. Work on with each inhale, your belly will press forward and your rib cage will expand to the side. So we're gonna balloon out in our midsection as we inhale. And then all that relaxes as we exhale. As your breathing gets a little deeper, try to relax through the shoulders. So if you're holding a lot of tension through the shoulders, just let them drop. And try to pick the chest up a little higher. So lift through the sternum. Allow those shoulders to roll back and get a slight lift in the chin. Inhale, nice and deep. We're going to exhale, allow the hips to drift back and just reach the fingertips toward the floor. Folding over. Getting a little softness through the knees, so you don't have to lock your knees out. Let those knees stay soft. One more breath in and out here. We're going to press the knees forward, hips forward. Go ahead and lift the chest, lift the chin. We're going to clasp the hands behind the back and just open. Take a few breaths. Breath in. The exhale, we're going to release those fingers. Let's place a hand on the side of the waist. Other hand's going to come up and over and go to a little side bend. Again, inhale, bring that hand into the waist, other hand up and over, little side bend. Inhale, we're going to pull that arm down, big breath in. Let's exhale, send it down toward the feet. Now, if you're not already toward the front of your mat, go ahead and take a couple steps. You're up toward the front and you've got some space here. We're going to bend the knees slightly and reach the fingertips toward the floor. From there, you're just going to work your feet back. You can drop down into a tabletop position. So each knee is going to drop down onto the mat. Hands are going to go underneath the shoulders. Knees under the hips. Starting off in neutral, we're going to go through cat and cow. So big inhale, arch the spine, push away from the floor through the palms. Keep those shoulders pulled down from the ears. Big breath in, exhale to round the spine, lifting that spine toward the ceiling, hugging your belly button in. Again, big breath in. We're gonna lift the forehead, lift the tailbone, big arch through the spine. And on the exhale, we're rounding through the back, pushing up and away from the floor, letting those shoulder blades move away from the spine. When you're ready, one more time through. Inhale to arch. Letting that belly button sag toward the floor. And the last one will be the exhale, rounding through the spine, moving those shoulder blades out and away from the middle of the back. When you're ready, return to neutral. We're going to sit on back in a cross-legged position. Let those arms rest for a moment. So we did a whole bunch of stuff to warm up the spine and the torso. Just sit up tall for a second, take a few breaths. And keeping the chest lifted, we're going to move the head up and down. So nodding your head yes, taking your time in each position. And returning to neutral, we're going to shake the head no, moving the chin from one shoulder to the other. And then moving the head side to side, ears shoulder to shoulder. Still trying to keep that slight lift through the chest. Still breathing through our diaphragm. All right, you can bring that head back to neutral. We're going to go back onto hands and knees. Hands down. We're going to curl the toes under. Actually, take your toes, curl them under so that the bottom of your feet are getting a slight stretch. All right, and then just moving the body forward and back, stretching through the wrists, the shoulders, knees, hips, and toes. Keeping the spine nice and flat. Adjusting wherever you need to. So if you need more space between your hands and your knees, just move your hands forward. Opening up more now through the shoulders and through the hips and low back. Couple more passes. And when you're ready, we're gonna return to our neutral position. We're gonna send the knees out wide and bring the big toes together so you can place the top part of the feet flat on the mat. We're gonna thread the needle for a moment here. So take one hand, stretch it up toward the ceiling, big turn to the side, take it a couple of breaths. And then that hand is gonna thread underneath the body. We're gonna turn the chest the other direction. Try to lower the shoulder as close to the mat as you can. So we're trying to settle that shoulder down. So we're pulling our shoulder blade away from the spine. Giving it 3 deep breaths. On that third exhale, you can bring that hand down, place it on the mat. Take your time. We're going to move the other hand up toward the ceiling, big turn. Give it a couple breaths. And same thing, we're threading that arm underneath, trying to lower the shoulder as close to the mat as you can, turning the chest off to the side. 3 deep breaths. And take your time. On the third exhale, we're going to come away from the mat. We're going to walk the hands forward and then settle the hips back, stretching through the shoulders one more time. So settling that forehead down to the mat. Trying to inch those fingertips forward if you can. Couple more breaths. Try to relax through the low back as well. Now, if you want to stay here longer, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, we're going to slowly come up out of that shape. And we're going to start moving into downward dog. So let's bring those knees in. Plant those hands down on the mat. We're going to curl the toes under. And then you'll pick your hips up and move them back. Remember, we're trying to pull the weight away from our wrists. So we're sinking those heels down. Big stretch through the calves. Let's give this 2 more deep breaths. If you can, we're going to walk those feet as far forward as you can, trying to get close to your hands. If you have to, you can walk the hands back some. We're going to end here with our feet shoulder width wide. 2 more breaths in this folded position. Then on the second exhale, you can bring your knees forward, hips forward, and we're going to stand on up. Very good. All right, hands to the side, easy twist. Trying to get all the blood back in the right spots. Very good. Okay, so we're going to turn sideways on the mat. Short down here. So sideways, and feet are going to go out nice and wide. So you want to think 2 shoulder widths at least wide. Okay, and then from here, we're going to turn 1 foot off to the side. So let's start with going into warrior. Hands are going to come up over both legs. We're keeping the spine up tall. And we're going to shift that weight over the front leg. So your knee is staying over your ankle. Hips are staying squared to the shoulders. A couple of breaths. Try to feel those toes connecting down through the mat. So you're spreading out those toes, pushing them down into the mat. 2 more breaths. Now we're going to keep those arms up, but straighten your front leg. Allow yourself to tip at the hips. We're reaching the front arm down. Back arm is coming up, stretching down toward the shin or the ankle. Keeping that chest still looking the same direction. So chest is pointing forward. Give this one 2 more deep breaths, trying to relax through that low back and through the inner part of your thigh. Now we're going to keep this fold. Take that top arm, stretch it down in the direction of your leg. The other arm is going to go off to the side or up toward the ceiling if you can twist around. We're going to give this one 3 deep breaths. And then we're going to lower that arm back down. We're going to press that body up nice and easy. That was a whole bunch of lower back stretching, so take your time. We're going to turn that foot in, send the other toes out to the side. Okay, so shoulders might be kind of angry, so if you need a second, take longer. Otherwise, we're going to bring those arms up. So we're starting for that warrior pose, sending that front knee forward right over the ankle. Nice and open through the chest. Remember, we're spreading the toes, pushing them down into the mat, helping with balance. Two more breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to be pushing out of that shape, pressing the hips back, then tipping down. So front arm moves down toward the ankle, back arm moves up toward the ceiling. And if you've got that squished feeling through the toes, if you're still pushing them down into the mat, that'll help a little bit with balance with us tipping over. Trying to soften through that low back, stretching through that inner thigh. Give it 2 more breaths. Now that top arm is going to come down towards your front leg, stretching it down. Other hand either goes off to the side or you can twist slightly toward the ceiling. Give this one 3 deep breaths. And once you got that third exhale, the hand will go down. We'll bring the body up out of that shape. Turn the toes forward again. Okay, and you can just bring your hands behind you or place them on your hips. Just press the hips forward, open the chest to the ceiling. All right, let's go ahead and hop it forward on the mat. We're going to send the hands down, but we're going into a high plank, so hands go down on the mat. We're sending the feet back. And you can either have the knees down or you can keep the balls of the feet down. We're pushing up and away from the mat, over in a straight line from our shoulders, through our hips, all the way to our heels. 3 deep breaths. Keeping those hips tucked. To get that third breath, you can lower the knees down, We're going to send it on back off of the wrists, out of our forward position. Feet are going to go in front of us. You can place your hands behind you and just nice and easy rocking with the knees side to side. Okay, I'm going to send one leg out nice and long. Bring the other foot in, cross it over that extended leg. We're going to wrap the opposite arm around, go into a slight twist. Yeah, so just trying to anchor onto that knee or onto your thigh and twist around. When you're ready, we're going to repeat on the other side. So you can send that leg out long. Bring the other foot in, crossing it over the thigh. Same thing, we're wrapping that opposite arm around and twisting away. Turning back to the front, we're going to take those bottoms of the feet, place them together. Just moving into a cobbler pose. We're not going to lean forward, but we are going to work on sitting up nice and tall. So you can keep those hands propped behind you. Feel like you're reaching your belly button and your pubic bone toward your heels. Two more breaths. Okay, so if you don't have room on your mat, just scooch forward a little bit. We're going to go ahead and lay on back on our mat. You can bring your knees to your chest and just rocking a little side to side. Big breath in. We're going to exhale, stretch the hands out overhead and stretch the legs down underneath you. Nice and open. Again, when you're ready, we're going to inhale the knees to the chest, but this time place the arms off to the side in the shape of a T, so arms straight off to the side of the body. We're going to drop the knees all the way over to one side of the mat. Big breath in, we'll draw the knees through the center and then exhale to drop them off on the other side of the mat. Very good, bring them back to the center one more time. Big breath in, exhale, send the hands overhead, send the legs out straight underneath you. Big stretch, opening through the fingers, spreading through the toes. And then you can bring those hands down and place them wherever you'd like. We're going to stay here for our last couple of minutes. If you need to adjust how you're laying, you can go ahead and do that. You can bend your knees or roll over onto your belly if necessary. Get into a comfortable position and let's just breathe for these last few minutes. We've got one more minute here. And as you decide you're done for today, you can sit on up, wiggle around whenever you're finished. My online folks, thanks for coming, and I'll see you on Wednesday.